Hey y'all, it is Megan Rohr, and I am the Senior Church Communications Specialist at Glide Memorial Church. And with me today is.
I'm LB Johnson. I'm the Church AV Manager for Glide Memorial Church.
It's so great to have you here. Would you be willing to tell people some of the identities that you embody and if you feel comfortable, maybe how it affects your faith?
Okay, well, let's actually start with the faith part. The way that I describe myself is a non-theist cultural Black Protestant. So that's how I describe myself regarding faith. That's because I don't have any theologies. I don't have really any beliefs. But culturally, I did grow up Black Protestant, and that has affected not just my faith identity, but any other identity that I have. Um, when you have both parents who are ordained ministers, um, my background happens to be Methodist and also um, charismatic Pentecostal. It can't help but infuse your worldview, whether you believe it or not. So it's a classic case of um, the you can take the girl out of the church, but you can't take the church out of the girl.
That's a great way to put it. Is there's the stuff that like sort of sticks to our ribs, and then there's the part that we try to like live into our future, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you put yourself as an individual in these very individualistic faith traditions. You put yourself into it as you can, and that's just what I've come up with.
I like it.
So other identities are, um, African American. Grew up in Southern California. Pronouns are she, her. Cis woman, queer. Um, been out since 1988. And out is what? Well, that's changed, but basically queer. Queer describes it.
I love it. Was that the year of the March on Washington?
Probably.
Yeah.
I was in a much different spot in 1988, so I think it was the year. I think it was that the year of that. It was either that or 1989. But um, we can get to why I was in a different spot uh, with that in that year a little later.
Yeah, sounds good. Can you tell us a little bit about your role at Glide? People might have seen you up in the balcony, but would you describe a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, I am Church AV manager. So what that means is all of the AV audiovisual is under my domain, I guess. Right now, I am acting as a technical director. So I do all of the video, I do all of the in house and streaming video for Sunday celebrations and any other celebrations or um, programs that may come through the sanctuary, through the church. I'm also an audio engineer, so I can do audio, and I have done. I started out doing audio at Glad Memorial Church, and have moved to this position that I'm now in. So I can do both, but typically on Sundays and for other celebrations that happen in the church, I'm on video.
Very good. Um, can you tell us a little bit about why Glide Memorial Church is important to you?
Well, it's important to me culturally, and it's important to me, obviously, as an occupation. But culturally, and as a San Francisco resident, it's a historical institution that's been uh, uh, instrumental in all of our development as queer people, because Glide Memorial has been in on and been part of um, gay liberation, gay pride, LGBTQ rights, as it is now. For other cultural reasons, as a Black person in the city, Glide is also not exactly a flagship Black church, but it kind of is, because culturally, it's based in Black worship and Black worship styles, and I know that and I understand that, and it's been part of the development of that in this city and in this region. You have all sorts of um, uh, 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 Black church musicians and um, Black church people coming through Glide, and of course Cecil is one. Um, and that's been really important in the development of how of like Black church in the Bay Area. Glide is a big part of that, and so it's interesting being taking part in that legacy, and being part of the development of that legacy going forward, not just for the church but for the Bay Area, because it's such, Glide is such a flagship um, institution and cultural institution in that way. So that's another reason why it's important to me. I can't say I have much of a spirituality, not anymore, but I do understand that for so many people, Glide has been foundational in their own spiritual development and their spiritual walk. And also, again, to be a part of that as it goes forward in this time, especially in this time of COVID and trying to get to post-COVID, and where are we with post-COVID and pandemic, and it's just it's been really profound for me to be a part of that.
Well, I can only imagine the ways that your job has had to shift and change kind of over the last sort of little while, as people are sort of reinventing church and how it works. And I've noticed up there with you in the balcony, you've had a couple of shadows lately. Do you want people to like volunteer and get connected, or if they're interested, or is it more of a know a lot about AV before you connect in that kind of way?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, it's really interesting with Glide AV, the way that it's been and the way that it's going. Certainly now, I am looking for volunteers. I'm always looking for volunteers. I have a growing volunteer roster, and people come in, they shadow for volunteering, they shadow for maybe some of the open positions in Glide AV. I do have 2 open positions for video and for audio. It does help to have. I found that it does help to have a house of worship background, only because we have a lot that's going on in AV at Glide in the balcony. We have some really bomb equipment and really interesting things that we're doing for in sanctuary and live streaming. So we do that simultaneously for anything that we do in the sanctuary, starting of course with Sunday celebrations, but other things that may happen in the sanctuary. We also like to live stream those as well. So if you have church and house of worship experience, it makes the learning curve a little less steep, because like I said, there's a lot going on up there every Sunday, and if you bring those skills with you, it's great. If you also want to come and learn, that's great. You can volunteer. And maybe even put yourself in a spot to apply for a couple of the open positions. But yeah, you don't have house of worship experience. You don't have to have house of worship experience. It does help. And if you want to come and learn, come and volunteer.
Well, I imagine too, as the church sort of starts having more and more activities, and people want to have celebrations and all kinds of like public events in the sanctuary, having some extra folk who know how to do it makes it possible for more of the events to be live streamed. Because I know that as more stuff gets added, there's only a certain number of hours in a day that y'all
Yes.
can be sitting up in that balcony, right?
Yeah, yeah, and also, House of Worship AV is a growing field itself. So all of us, each house of worship has its own setup and its own history and um, its own standards and its own stipulations, and so Glide um, is in that boat ourselves, and it's a growing field, and especially during and moving into post-COVID, it's new, and it's actually very exciting. It's kind of like when silent film went to sound film. It is that monumental that the shift is paradigmatic. The shift is like, wow, oh wow, we really can do this. Our little church really can do this. Our little storefront church on Valencia Street can do this. Our big church up on the hill can do this. Our big mega church can do this. So it's exciting to be in the position that I'm in now and see where we can go at Glide with it, and see where we can go with Glide members and Glide community, Glide family, um, stepping in and stepping up.
I love that. And I know you mostly are sort of behind the headphones or behind the sound desk and behind the AV equipment, but is there like a memory at Glide Church that you would like to share with folks that was meaningful to you?
Well, there's so many that are hard to choose from. I think last week the Sylvester celebration um, was pretty profound for me, because the first time that I went to Glide myself was in 2018, which was I think the first time Minister Marvin preached a Sylvester sermon, and so it was emotional, and I guess kind of nostalgic for me, but also to see just how far Glide Church AV has come in 4 years. Now, of course, in 4 years, a lot has happened. That same year, that same week, was when it hit the news about the split from the United Methodist Church. And so now that split is complete and we've grown from that, seeing the same theme of Sylvester, the way that we do it now, um, that was really a profound moment for me. And um, when the Glide Ensemble just kind of stepped up and started singing a soprano, alto, tenor, bass rendition um, arrangement of Mighty Real, I've never seen that in church before in my life. Now I've been in church my entire life. I've never seen that. And so yes, that was really that was really not just a great moment, but a profound moment for faith and for identity and for being a Black queer person who is in church AV, and in church AV at this particular church. Um, that was I mean, how else do you describe it? Fabulous. It was fabulous. It was fabulous.
It was like every magical glitter explosion at once. Honestly, for me it gave me a sense of the possibilities of what Glide can be, because the Methodist Church is still trying to figure out their positions around LGBTQ stuff. And it for me, it lifted me up to think like, wow, we can go there. Like, we can be fully unapologetically queer in a worship service, right? And that's a place that we can head into. It's sort of like there's a freedom into the future that is sort of unleashed, that I thought was really powerful on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's been going on at Glide for, literally for decades. And that's, to me, what is so amazing about Glide, not just as a queer person, but as a Black queer person.
Yeah.
My own faith tradition that I do resonate with, the African Methodist Episcopal Church, not so friendly towards queers. I guess the friendliest that you're going to get in the Black church traditions in the United States, but you're not going to see that. You're not going to see that at the AME church that I belong to in the city, and it was just it was a moment in 2018. It was a stunning moment in 2018, and it was a stunning moment, a few days ago on Sunday.
Is there anything else you wanted to share about yourself, or about kind of what's going on up in the balcony that I didn't ask you about?
No, I think we've covered everything. We have an ongoing call for volunteers. If you know AV, come join us. If you would like to learn AV, especially for AV for House of Worship, come and join us. If you're part of the Glide community and you want to see what goes up in the balcony, come join us. And yes, check out our open positions at glide.org/church announcements. Other than that, I'll see you guys on Sunday.
And if people want to connect with you, what's the best way they should do that? Should they throw paper airplanes up to the balcony? Email?
Please don't do that. please don't throw things at us.
Yes, don't do that.
The balcony. Email is ljohnson@glide.org. My cell phone number is 415-987-2755. That's the best way to reach me by phone. Okay. Other than that, I'll see you guys on the platforms, because I'm on those too.
Thank you so much, LB, for being our guest today. We really appreciate having you, and we'll see you all next time.
Okay, thanks a lot.